I'm going to say something that I don't think a lot of people will want to hear, and that is that your loved ones are allowed to make bad decisions, even if those bad decisions can end up really harming them. Unfortunately, if the person is of sound mind and there's no, person who's the guardian or power of attorney for that person that can force them to do something otherwise, or they're not in an immediate danger to themselves or other people, then unfortunately people can continue to make really poor choices, even if it leads to catastrophic outcomes for them, even their death. They're allowed to be able to make bad choices. And this is a thing that I see happen time and time again in healthcare. I've been a social worker for almost 20 years. I've worked in emergency departments doing safety assessments to see, if somebody needed emergency commitment, if they were a danger to themselves or someone else. I've worked in long-term hospital settings. I've worked as an elder care consultant. And over the years, what I've seen is the same theme, that absolutely every single family wants the best for their loved one. For the most part, there's a few that have not, but by and large, everybody wants to see their loved one succeed. They want them to have the best health outcomes. They truly want what they think is best for that person. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what that person actually wants. Even if it's a bad choice. I've seen it play out for my diabetic clients. I've seen several people, not do the things that they were supposed to do with their diet or with exercise, end up losing first one toe, then a few toes, then a whole foot, even ending up in, diabetic comas, which is ridiculous, you think, but they have the right to be able to make these choices for themselves. I've also seen it in the ED where people will come in on an emergency petition from their family. They've gone to the court to go and get this emergency petition, and they're saying, this person is trying to kill themselves. And then when we have the conversation with the family, they'll say, well, no, they don't have a plan or anything, but they're going to drink themselves to death. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They are going to die. And that may very well be the case. They may end up dying from the choices that they're making, but unless they're in imminent danger within that moment, there's no type of emergency commitment that we can make somebody do against their will. I think a lot of people are hoping that there is some form, of like mandatory inpatient drug rehab or something like that, and that's just not the thing unless you're going through the judicial system. The last part that I've seen for a lot of our aging seniors is that, the home that they live in is their home. They've made this their home throughout their adult life. They don't want to leave. Even if the home is, in your eyes as the loved one, completely dilapidated and not livable, as long as the person is meeting their basic needs, they're getting their food, they have, heat, they have electric, they have air conditioning, and they're able to take care of themselves. And again, there's no guardian, there's no power of attorney. Even if the home is in really, really bad repair, even if the home is totally not what you would live in, the family member still has the right to make that choice for themselves. So this is something, again, I see it over and over and over again, and it's a super, super hard conversation to have with families because they absolutely want the best for their loved one, but unfortunately, people do get the right to make poor choices, and this is a civil liberty that is, something that we really don't want to have infringed on, but as a family, it can feel like the absolute worst of the worst because you're like, I know what's best, I know what we need to do, and your loved one's just not listening. I'd love to hear your stories in the comments if you have anything similar.